Dear Venerable Sisters and Dhamma friends, this is our one before the last question and answer session. There are some written questions. I will start with them and continue. Meanwhile, if anyone has any statements or questions or any thing to mention, you are cordially welcome. Dear Bhante, do inanimate objects as stones or even plants fall into the category of sankhara, volitional formations? Are stones and plants subject to dukkha as they are impermanent? There's a one, how do you call the parable, just to hint this idea. It is in the Zen tradition. It says, if there is a forest, that even by walking 7 days time, it will take time to go into the center of the forest. It's such a big one. In midst of that, there's a sandalwood plantation, and no one in the forest. If a big sandalwood plant fallen, will there be any sound? So that is the way it says. So it's a way indicating if there is no one to hear, no sounds. Exactly if the plants are going to say, I am, then it is in suffering. Lucky thing in the plants is, they are not. And the stones. So therefore, the sankhara is something volitional. So if the plants and the stones, they says, they also suffer, they are also the subject to changes, but it never claims it, that I am, or I, or the changes are me, or mine, or the soul. So therefore, but talking about these things, we are making suffering. Unwanted questions. This is our way. This is our way. We take as much as possible everything and discussion. Ultimately, we forget about our present moment. This is the way of creating suffering. So therefore, mind your own business. Simply talking about the plants and the neighbors and the stones and kind of thing, it is a kind of losing our precious opportunity. Venerable Bhante, I humbly request you to explain with your noble words whether there is a middle path to noble silence, or is it that one has to remain grumpy and not greeting anyone with at least a smile mindfully, and then getting back to our own meditative thoughts immediately and mindfully. Please advise. This one also, I have one story. Venerable Pandita Sayadaw, when he was go to Canada, they have hired a Catholic church or a kind of a church for the retreat. And organizers go on there and have a terms and condition. After that, they have paid and kind of thing. And it was really a successful retreat. So next year, they have gone to book the same place, but the people vehemently has told, no for your group. So they were amazed to hear, because they thought that they have paid and all the kind of why is that. They say, you people are not talking each other, behaving like enemies. We don't appreciate that. And then the organizers had so much of time to convince them. It is a condition we are fulfilling with so much difficulties. So therefore, please consider, if you see it like that, it's a quality of us. We are happy to hear, but it is nothing, any animosity or kind of with you. There is no misunderstanding within us. With whole effort only we are achieving this. But even then they have resisted, telling this is, you all are not social, greeting each other, looking each other. So therefore they have a misunderstanding. And in the Matika Mata story also, it says that in a time of the Buddha, there were 30 monks traveling, nearing the rainy retreat. So one of the village headmen, seeing these monks, he's not a traditional Buddhist, he asks, where are you people are going? They say that we are going to spend the 3 months rainy retreat in a place in a solitude. Then he says, there's a close by forest. Why don't you dwell there, and I will try my best to support you. If if you need, please let me know. So ultimately the monks were very happy, and ultimately this village headman's mother took so much of interest to cook food and inviting them on a pinnapata and giving some roofing items and building construction for the temporary huts. Ultimately, he was so busy helping these 30 monks, and one day he asked that how is the monks with his helper, bringing items up and down. They are doing well. If you wish, you can go there and see. Then she says that if there's no problem, I am very happy to go and see what is happening there. So when they go there was a meeting place, not a single monk, and no talks. It is very abandoned life. So she was so upset, and she told, what is that if the 30 monks are living there, they should have kind of a sounds and talking and kind of thing. Then the attendant has told, if it is so, you have to gong the bell, then they will come. So the village headman's mother told the assistant to gong the bell. So when they are gonging the bell, the 30 monks came from the different 30 roads, not talking each other, and sit in the place and ask why someone gong the bell in the wrong time. Then the helper has told, this is our lady and she is the one supporting, she wishes to see you. Oh, no problem. And the chief monk is talking, and then she was so upset because they are so silent, not talking each other. She go and ask Bhante, is there any problem or any kind of a fight among your people? He says, why? No, you are not talking each other, you are coming from different routes, and for me it is something different. Then he told this with the whole effort only we are maintaining it, that is why the whole trip to come here, the solitude. Then she told, what is the purpose? How that helps? Then it has so much of time for the chief monk to explain, this is the vow, this is our determination not to disturb anyone. And ultimately she got material object from that particular monk, and she has gone home, and while doing all the kind of thing, she has practiced at home and achieved a substantial amount of achievement in this very life. So therefore this is the way we have to train the socialization and all the kind of thing with respect to the noble silence. The Buddha has mentioned, Dhammajiva kata aryova tunnibhao. If you are talking, talk something related to the Dhamma. Otherwise, maintain the silence. And it is a kind of a respect to the Buddha. So if someone is talking, specifically in the shrine room, in our Nissarana there is a board telling, consider the Buddha as a living one, we may pay respect by silence. Don't talk right around there, because it is a kind of a distraction for the Buddha as well as disrespect to the Buddha. So therefore this someone has to learn by repetitive application the middle path to the noble silence. And middle path in the according to the teaching of the Buddha, there was one monk during the time of the Buddha. He has taken a vow not to talk, and ultimately it went to the community, and then the monks are not talking. Then Buddha told, no, after the rainy retreat, each and everyone has to talk. Each and everyone has to go and offer the fellow meditator, dear fellow meditator, if I have committed any misdeeds, verbally, physically or mentally, if you happen to see, please let me know. If I also accept it, I will definitely correct it. Like us, you have to verbalize it, you have to offer, you have to invite. So therefore, you have to break the silence according to the way the Buddha has mentioned. So when it is go to the lay people, and specifically in the socialized situation, one has to find the middle path within these stories and within these rules and regulation. So short to the point is the Upanishad Sayadaw's statement. When you are reporting, even if you are talking, make it short to the point and short and sweet, not to go for exaggeration kind of thing. And of course it is very difficult thing, but when and where you become contented and introvert, expose the awareness to the present moment, you may find that verbalization, vitakka vichara, is what you call the inner chatter or silence commentary inside, is the most difficult thing as far as the concentration is concerned. So before verbalization, the Buddha says it has to go through this vitakka vichara, that the applying thought and the discursive thoughts. Without that, no talking happen. So whenever you keep on talking, the vitakka vichara, the inner preparation, gather the momentum. Even after you stop talking, this agitation, the inner chatter, the commentary going on. So therefore, and the other thing is, the second person also involved in order to converse. So therefore, specifically nowadays, very famous is the Goenkaji's system. It is a crime to talk. If you are going to talk, you will be chased away. So much strict. And of course, what we are doing here is, we are in the middle path, and often we sometimes go to the socialization. There we have to remind and again and again to advise not to talk. So therefore, no complete silence. There is a talk on purpose, or we call for utility value. Nothing more than that. So it's a kind of a training. Venerable Bhante, can you please explain the terms vitakka and vichara in relation to meditation? I explained in relation to non-meditation or talking. Now we have to think in terms of vitakka and vichara in relation to the meditation. Vitakka is known as applying thoughts. Vichara is discursive thoughts or analytical thoughts. So therefore, when and where you to make sure the adverting of the mind or direction of the mind, you have to make sure the mind is going to that particular object. That means vitakka is directed. Going to one particular object is, it is blind to other objects. So whenever vitakka is working, you know, it is called asammosa rasa, you know which is the point the mind has gone. And that means balance or right round thing may not be highlighted. For example, when the Upanishad Sayadaw is explaining, he says, in our houses we have group photos, and in the group photos our uncle or auntie or relatives also there. But other people in the group, unrelated to us, unknown to us, also there. So whenever we are looking at the photo, we are not looking at everyone, we are only looking at our relative. And that when you are looking at others become insignificant. And because our photo is here in our wall because of that relative, so when you are looking, that is what the attention, that is the one vitakka. And with respect to he is in the third row, or second from the left side, these are the vichara, that is the analytically get the relationship with the others. But even then, that is to highlight your desire, your relative. The vitakka is the applying thoughts, vichara is comparatively, discreetly, how it differs from the others. So these two are very important in order to fix the perception. Or these are, and then if you put a label there, if you put a sign, that will be helpful for the next time you to recognize it, refine the same. So this is the way at the beginning we are really fixing the perception. And then apply again and again. Once that perception also dissolved, that means everything dissolved. Because you highlight the perception by vitakka vichara in order to make the others are insignificant. And whatever you focused, by applying again and again, that is also going to dissolve off. Ultimately everything, the perception will be disappearing. So this is the technique in the Vipassana meditation, how we use vitakka and vichara. Even in the samatha meditation, the first jhana, you have vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. Vitakka is working against the sloth and torpor. Vichara is working against the doubt. As far as there is no vitakka, sleepiness can creep in. As far as there is no vichara, doubt can come. So if you have doubt and sleepiness, the antidote, the remedy is to not frequently or vigorously, so sleepiness will go. And if you are really sure this is the object that I am observing, not the other one, then there is no doubt. But if you do not know where the mind is going and which must be the priority, am I now with the priority or if it's generalized, then the doubt can happen. So this is how vitakka vichara is being positively or practically using in meditation. Venerable Bhante, can samadhi happen while listening to the Dhamma talk? And that is how during the time of the Buddha, by listening to one single talk, the people go through the whole series and so absorbed without any preliminary kind of thing, cut through. Not only that, even in Sri Lanka, literally it is accepted, while giving a Dhamma talk also you can be enlightened. There are 5 doorways to go into the enlightenment: listening, giving a Dhamma talk, reciting the chanting, and concentration meditation and the insight meditation. So the Maliyadeva Maharatan Vahanse, that considered that the last, the Arahant existed in Sri Lanka with this discrimination, have the whole for discrimination. He was so prepared and giving a talk. While giving the talk, he was enlightened. He became an Arahant. So therefore, both has to touch each other, connect each other, communicate each other. Then the living Dhamma is working. So, and when Jnanarama, when he used to say, when you are listening 1 hour, 1.5 hours, after 20-30 minutes the pain arises. And amidst of pain, to keep the track with the breath, you have to have a mastery on the Vedananupassana. And sometimes the mind start to chatter. I have this job to do, that one and kind of thing. And there, while if you wish to keep the track only with the listening, you have to be mastered on the mental aspects also. And seeing happens, hearing happens, not let the mind to go run away, wander away, to keep the track. So that means kind of some training in all the 4 Satipatthana happen to keep the track with. So that is why I am keep on talking for 1.5 hours. So you have to. And it is a training for me also. Of course it is too much for earlier there also we have 60-minute cassettes. So every talk is prepared with a 60-minute cassette, latter part is missing. So ultimately we have to go to the 90 minutes. And sometimes that is also exceeding. So nowadays with the voice recorders have no problem. I can continue. as much as possible. I like. Venerable Bhante, when one enters a jhana, although no additional sankhara made, due to the intention to enter and stay in the jhana, would there be sankhara? Is that what is meant to ananjabi sankhara? So this sankhara, of course, these are determination evaluating the mastery. When once the mastery is finished, intention to enter, intention to stay, intention to come out, it is not valid. But while doing, of course, you have to do it. And even without that, when you are experiencing the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, there's a kind of a sankhara happen. That is why if you are to finish this life with full-fledged jhana, you will be reborn in the particular realm, in the Brahma world, due to the karma results. So therefore, ananjabi sankhara, these are not definitely the apunyabi sankhara. There may be some punyabi sankhara or ananjabi sankhara. Ananjabi sankhara is, there is no, almost no kind of a volitional involvement, and maybe unconsciously or without any force, it appears. It happens due to your conditioning or due to your inner rut, due to your habits. They happen. So you have no kind of intention, but if you are not sharp enough, ultimately you will accept it is kind of your own task, your own involvement. But if you are really sharp, it may or may not be. Under such circumstances, they are happening rather than doing. Under such circumstances, there are some sankhara arising, and they are not going into the skillful side or unskillful side, because your involvement is so little, so subtle, so there is no much of a white or black kind of the effects happen. So it comes under the grey areas. So they are called ananjabi sankhara. Following the jhana, when one experiences vipassana steps, for example, the udayabhya sankharupeka jnana, as the person is only observing the process happen due to the cause and effect, would that be visankhara chitta state? Visankhara chitta is the end result. Here sankhara upekka. You are equanimous to the formation. You know anything going to do or happen, you are getting committed. You are responsible. So therefore you make your whole effort not to exert any will, any volition, any intention, and knowingly or unknowingly. And once you come up to the maturity or surmounting of that situation, it is called sankharupekka. It is so almost like an arahant's mind, it called. It is so powerful. You are fully aware that you are not committing, that you are not making any will. It is not the visankhara chitta. Visankhara chitta is known as the path knowledge and the fruition. In this process, the underlying intention is to end all suffering through the realization of the way things really are. Would this intention act as a volition or chetana, kusala sankhara? That is why the Buddha says even the Eighth Noble Eightfold Path is a sankhara, is a fabrication. It's a kind of a formula. The Buddha formulated it. That is to get rid of all the sankhara. It is like have an appointment with a disappointment, so there won't be any disappointment. So this is an appointment with a disappointment. You remove the sankhara out of sankhara. And the example given is when there's a prick, in a stick in your soul or something. In order to get rid of that, you have to have another prick. From that only you can remove it. Likewise, this Noble Eightfold Path also kind of a sankhara, and this determination and going. But the Buddha says for his knowledge, this is the most subtle one. In order to get rid of gross one, you are using the subtle one. Venerable Sir, can one be mindful at the particular moment and at the same time be gathering sankhara? That is what the yogi is. The yogi, the practicing person, he has its own habits, its own likings and disliking, personality traits. So whenever you become mindful, they never ceases to exist at once. They are in a reducing in the momentum, tapering off, and now you know. But the only difference is, you know it is in the healing process. So therefore you are not disheartening. You are not getting discouraged. Same mistake is happening. But more and more it to happen, you become more and more master about what is happening. So your habits, your traits are slowly disappearing. Even at the beginning, the particular person himself or herself can't understand whether I am repeating in an accelerating manner or decelerating manner. When the mindfulness is there, definitely with the time, with not much a long duration, you come to know it is happening, but in a deceleration manner. For example, this is just to give an example. When you are observing the breath, at times it appears like completely ceases to exist. And then when you are jolly good waiting there, again the breath happens. Then you get disheartened that who made this disturbance, how that breath happened, kind of thing. But without much worrying, if you look at the breath, very quickly it will disappear again. And then again it will appear, and again it will disappear. Each time it reappearing, not up to the last amplitude. The amplitude is slowing going. So therefore, when you are to see number of cycles, it appears the same pattern, but the amplitude of the reappearance of the breath is becoming subtler and subtler. It's another dimension of the first settling down, calming down, again become gross, again calming down, again become gross, but it never become gross to the last amplitude. It's tapering off. So this is, you have to be very patient and very tolerant and very well informed, very well prepared. Then you are bound to see, and there you see, there are some sankhara happening, but you know it is healing. In our agriculture also, they have been taught when you are giving a chemical to kill some insects in a crop, to the first application you have to give very thorough application, even in the buns and all the grasses, so that a huge amount of population will be killed. But 3 days time, if you go back, there is another little population coming out. So you must be really on the spot. You have to give the second dose, and then you can say it is enough. No. Another 3 days time, if you go, they have another little population is there. Then you have to give the third dose, and then only you can make sure it is controlled. First dose wise, some resistant types, virulent types are waiting. So you have to give the immediately second, third dose, and then only it will be, you can eradicate it. I am not advertising for agrochemicals, this is an example. For example, if one is walking mindfully to a point with the intention of performing a wholesome action, and they generating the kusala sankhara each moment. For example, if one is walking mindfully to a point with the intention of performing a wholesome action, and they generating kusala sankhara each moment, that each moment one can say, due to this intention, the mindfulness become weaker and weaker. Mindfulness must not be compromising with any other intention. So therefore, if it is any intention happen, that is also you have to be mindful, but don't commit, don't do willfully any intention that is completely against the mindfulness. So it can happen, but don't get frustrated, don't get upset. Be aware, but don't do it willfully. Don't have The not having is the biggest performance. The biggest task must be. This is something related to the today's talk. Even the unmindfulness, you have to be aware. So there are these, whether it is at that moment sankhara happening or wholesome thing happens, unwholesome thing happens, it become a problem. It become a question or some doubt can arise. But the thing is, when it is happening, if it is dwindling off, you are the first one to understand. So therefore, do the same thing. And by happening again and again, if the momentum is reducing, it's a very good thing. Don't try to accelerate it, just observe it. Venerable Bhante, the last two Dhamma talks were marvelous, priceless, even better than the single talks. Could you please confirm if my understanding below is correct or not? Sankhara is created when actions are associated with the sankhara dharma, sankata dharma, and that is lobha dosa moha, tanna mana raga ditti, sakkaya ditti, vichikicca, nimitti, panidi, etc. The Buddha says, sankhara rising out of this raga dosa moha, this was kinchana. Kinchana means if you are to say a thing, you must call raga dosa moha as the thing. Any sankhara is to propagate it, increase it, knowingly or unknowingly. No sankhara means no raga dosa moha. So therefore each and every sankhara, when it happens, if you carefully observe it as an outsider, it is coming out from these spaces. Or somewhat otherwise it says, tanha mana ditti, the prapancha. So therefore, any question arising, any grudge, any intention, everything coming out from that. So far up to now in the samsara, this is what we were doing. And if someone asks, with whose agenda I am working, we can say it's the agenda of raga dosa moha. Everything happened through the propellants of the raga dosa moha. So if you wish to do away with that in the experimental basis for a short period of time, whenever it happens, rather than vehemently implementing it, see the base from where it is coming. Then only three. The raga dosa moha, others are shades of it. The mana, raga, sakkaya ditti, vichikicca, they are shades of it. They are the main thing. So therefore the Buddha says, we do with only three things, that is universal for each and everyone, these three. From then only the pleasure principle comes. From there only labeling particular thing and keep it in the memory. And doing this and not to do that, this all discrimination, the choice, the decision making and attention coming out of that. And therefore, when you are successful, when you are winning, only the raga dosa moha is winning. You have been used as a slave. And you fail to understand because you don't like that very understanding. You think that I am the winner. But the Buddha says, if at all to win all these three. So therefore, whenever the no sankhara means, things are happening according to the natural order. You are just an observer. Action associated with the asankhara dharma, asankata dharma, are harmless. It has many characteristics. It has no limits. It is not belongs to time. It is not belongs to space. It is not the quantifiable. And so there's a huge criterion. Whenever something quantifiable, which is something confined with the time and the space and all that means it has its limitation. Raga dosa moha base is there. Living in our lay lives as a parent, we need to guide the children. Maybe for you, I am not. But I am not married. As long as I think the sister also laughing at. As long as they do not fall into actions associated with the Sankara Dharma is giving, Sankara Dharma is giving advice, okay. You have to, you are in the first sentence, you are justifying, you being parent, it is your duty, you have to advise. When I was in Panditarama, there was a sheet of paper for each and every monk or nun becoming temporary monkhood. They have to read it and say, yes, I know it. They are young children, 8 to 18. And there's one sentence, whenever you are handling the ball, you have to handle with both the hands. So therefore, when you are on the Pindapata, you are not talking here and there. You can't handle by one hand. You have to handle both. So one day, a ball fallen down with so much of noise. Sayadaw was in the room. He asked the instructor, go and pick the fellow. So the monk came. He's a very young boy, newly ordained. He told him, what happened? Then he told, this and that happened, we were fighting each other and the ball fallen down. He told, and he was so shivering because the Sayadaw is taken, he's like a Supreme Court judge. He never takes the, how to call this, trivial issues. Then so, do you know it's a mistake? Yes. Why it is mistake? So in the instruction, this is number 5, the clause is like that, now you know it. So then if you once you have done a mistake, what is the next? I must be punished. Then he told, do you understand that I am not punishing you, I am just implementing the constitution. So after convincing so much only, he told, hold both the hands with the ear, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, 50 times. The person close by has to count in front of all the other monks. So he says that I have no rights to fight, to punish you. I am also just another monk. But I am just implementing. So therefore he took so much of time to justify what he is doing. That means he is not committing anything. Of course he is doing the thing to do. But he takes time to justify the other party. So therefore even as parents, if you have the time, it is not in a hurry, not in the burning situation. You have to tell the other party, this is, I have some kind of experience more than you, so if you are in a accepting position, I would like to share. But if you are going to impose, when the pot is on the upside down, if you are going to pour, nothing goes inside. It must be in the proper shape, then only whatever you are going to put, going to hold it. So therefore, advising is not a joke. You have your own rights, or you have the justifiability. Other person should come and at least ask. Please, if you happen to find kind of thing, please advise me. Or otherwise you have to take, not in a rush, take and convince this is what happened. But other than that, not only the parents, even the religious masters, political leaders and rhetoric people, they make the situation so that they say, you don't know, I know, I am talk on behalf of you, your well-being, listen, take it. That is being known as vested interest. That vested interest is the worst thing human being can do to another person. So being parents, you have to be careful. If someone is coming and asking, that we will be a very good parents, that your children have trust upon you. So they will come and ask, you know it, therefore would you mind to share with me, and this is what it happened. But otherwise forcing, and how do you call this, imposing and the regiment, the commandments and kind of thing, that is why the communication gap between the parents and the children. So therefore the qualification, you have to qualify yourself to be parents. If it is so, you will say it is not a joke. You have to take so much of responsibility because you are dealing with another psychology, whether you are a child or whatever may be. Equal rights. So therefore it is in the monks' rules, if you have to advise someone in the Vinaya kind of thing, you have to have so much of qualification beforehand. You must not have committed that mistake before. If you had done that and going to advise the other person, you are just disrespecting the teaching. So therefore that Buddha says you have to advise, but first of all you have to be qualified. The way is that the other party must accept. You must get the consent of the other party, then only you will be qualified, not just by mere parenting, just due to the parents. So therefore again I have to say, mind your own business. And not that you are just escaping, you are qualifying yourself to tell the children. It is either they have to come and invite you, otherwise you have to qualify yourself by this. Doing that, you are not making another problem, you are not making another turmoil. So, and I would say it's more, the problem becomes very subtle, problem becomes very immediate when you are advising yourself. Then only you will see how much kind of a communication should have to happen. You have to see your own mistakes, and you have to understand with this mistake you can't take the middle path. It is always bias. So therefore make a determination, make a vow, make the regularization, and there you are advising yourself. When that happens, it must not be a punishment. You must clearly have the theoretical understanding, at least deductive knowledges, or if best with a little bit of practical understanding, then you can make it. Otherwise, as soon as you make the determination, next moment you will break it. So therefore this is an involved job. So the Buddha, when he is fulfilling his inspiration, he told, Buddhohang bodhisami, muttohang moche pare, tinnohang taresami sansaroga mahabhaya. First I will become Buddha, and then advise others to be Buddha. First I will cross the stream, and then I will help others. First I will get liberated, and then help others to be liberated. Otherwise, you are becoming an opportunist. You are not qualified to do it, and you are self-imposing or have the vested interest, then very difficult to size, very difficult to, the understanding what is happening. So it is a good job becoming parents and parenting, but you have to understand you are dealing with another psychology, and therefore ultimately you will decide not to marry. Maybe it is too late, but anyway, there's a chance not to commit much mistakes. I mean, the Sabba Papasakarnam, first do no harm. And then one day you will learn from your children. That is what happens. Because their intuitive, their clarity is much, much, much better than the parents. Because they have the very pure mind. They can look at, they can compare it with. So the day you are going to absorb from them, a lot we can learn. I have previously understood bhavatanha as craving for existence and the vibhavatanha as craving for non-existence, example suicidal thoughts. It seems very different to you. Explain it. Could you please clarify? Thank you. Exactly the same thing, different ways. Existence means you are not in the present moment, either in the time and space wise you are spreading. If you are contented with the present moment, not necessary to think about the yesterday and day before or tomorrow. Not necessary to think about next place I am going to go there also have this or that. So bhava means spreading. Spreading with the space, with the time, space dimension and time dimension, and dear and near ones. and all the kind of thing, you take them as a reference points with respect. And when explaining it, it says, one person tried to explain, in a beehive or in an anthill, the whole colony has one soul. Individuals have no complete life. Because if you take the female bee, it has a one single duty. It do not know what is happening in the overall beehive. And the queen has that specific duty. Male bee has specific duty. They have no overall. But when everything come together, it becomes a one soul. And it exists. Likewise, when we become individual, our existence is quite vulnerable. We can't have the continuity. No lineage is possible. So what we do is we gather together and make strong. And then we say, I am not talking about myself, I am talking about my society. I am talking about my religion. I am talking about my country. And you feel quite comfortable. That is the way our existence is, we are going to spread. And then it becomes bhavatanna rather than your sensuous feeling, sensuous gratification. It's a sensuous gratification of we, not I. It's exactly the existence. And vibhavatanna is, if someone is going to threat it, you are taking everyone you have in the society and vehemently fight against. So bhavatanna, vibhavatanna, very tricky. At the moment, due to its perverted nature, even the committing suicide or killing other person or martyrdom, anything can happen. It's exactly the same concept, presenting from the different point of view. In sitting, or to a lesser extent in walking meditation, I get a foggy, drowsy effects as soon as the mind calms down. It seems to come over like a wave or a series of waves. It settles when I become aware of aversion to it. Very good. Is this an experience of the hindrance, sloth and torpor, or is it a appearance of a latent tendency? Very difficult to say, pinpointed, but anyway, whenever the consciousness become cornered, when the consciousness become weaker and weaker, whenever it does not find enough food, it plays a lot of tricks. Either slip into a sleepiness, or wander off, or entertain doubts, or feel like doing something and all the... So this is the way. So you have to understand, as the last sentence goes, it settles when I become aware of the aversion to it. What is happening is not happy. So therefore you are, the mind is find ways and means to escape. So therefore it is not only attributable to the sloth and torpor or to the latent tendencies. So what you have to do is let it happen again and again. Don't consider it as my mistake. Don't consider it as a defilement. It's a phenomenon happening. You have to let it happen and observe the beginning, the middle and the end. And sometimes you can not only see the rushing part of it, sometimes you may see underlying tendencies also. It is useful to distinguish between hindrance and latent tendency. How can one tell the difference, or does it not matter? Just be mindful. Just be mindful is quite okay, but hindrances, you know it when it arises. Underlying tendencies always misrepresent. It is appearing in a perverted way. Very difficult to recognize by the face value. The face value appear like a friendly. But underneath is always mitra pratirupaka, counterfeit friends. So if you are going to judge by the face value, you appear like it is a good advice, a good opinion. It is kind of compassionate to you or well-being of you. But ultimately what happens is it is slipping you from the mindfulness. It's giving another alternative instead of being mindful here. So therefore, most of the underlying tendencies have this perverted nature. So therefore, as far as the underlying tendencies are concerned, or comparatively the warfare, Hindrances, it's a conventional war. For the underlying tendencies, it is a guerrilla attack you have to give. Because they are not coming as enemies. So they come like an ambush. You have to be prepared with the ambush. It is a guerrilla. It is not a conventional war. With the hindrances, you can declare war and amount of the ammunition and the fight you can win. But there you have to be very tricky because they are doing it in a tricky way. But the mindfulness, when it's skillful, you learn slowly ways and means how to tackle it. Venerable Bhante, in the Buddha's teaching, when and where and what sutta does the Buddha talk about the two meditation differentiate Vipassana meditation versus Samatha meditation. Could you please clarify and explain? Thank you very much. As the Eightfold Noble Path, right concentration talks about absorptions. I think in the Anguttara Nikaya, Chatukka Nipata, otherwise definitely in the Patisambhida Magga, Anguttara Nikaya is the gradual teaching. I don't know how to translate it in Anguttara Nikaya. Numerical discourses, and the Patisambhida Magga is translated as the path of discrimination. And there the Buddha says there are 4 methods of meditation, starting from concentration and later go into the insight, starting from the insight and later go into the concentration, and dual method, using both. And the last one is the Dhammuddacca Vigahita Manasa, and they indicate how the start from Samatha and go to Vipassana, how the Vipassana start from Vipassana and go to Samatha. The overall general description is there. Otherwise, looking at the sutta, very difficult to say whether it is combined one or whether it is biased to Vipassana or Samatha. Many suttas, majority are go through the Samatha method. Vipassana, no much, little bit of proportionately less amount of Vipassana suttas, I mean isolated with Vipassana. The particular sutta that I selected is Bhaddekaratta. It appeared to be fairly on Vipassana line. That is biased somewhat to Vipassana. What is the difference between Manasikārya and Vijñānaya? What is the difference between, it appears like Vinchahnaya, Vinchānaya. I think it is written in Vijñānaya. Vijñānaya is the chitta, Manasikāra is the cetasika. Vijñānaya is the mind, Manasikāra is a mental factor. It's a progeny, Manasikāra. So, there are two different things. There are 52 Manasikāra, the mental factors, as I mentioned, when I am dealing the Sankhara, Manasikāra also come under the Sankhara. It is a mental factor. Vijñāna is the mind or consciousness as such. Venerable Bhante Theruvan Saranai, while contemplating on your Dhamma talks, this is what I saw. I am going to draw it. Past and the future, in between there is a just enough to know that you are alive. Maybe this is not manifestative consciousness. Whatever may be, someone has not listened to my talk would have imagining. That is how this coming. So I can't imagine what you are imagining. So therefore, when you are listening, these things can happen. Don't entertain them. Just try to listen. Otherwise, you are commenting. So therefore, here and there you are listening. In between you are thinking. That may be what is happening. So therefore, it is nothing to promote, nothing to appreciate it. Otherwise, what you are listening is that says that what you are listening is what you wish to listen, not what is talking. So that is how it happens. There are a number of ways presenting whatever may be. If it is going to help you in mindfulness, is excusable. That is promoting, but sometimes it is just proliferating, and in that case. So I will read it when I have time, and I will take it to the next discussion, because it's a long thing and lot of postscripts and kind of thing. Could you please explain the difference between the Miccha Sati and Samma Sati, Miccha Samadhi and Samma Samadhi? Usually in the commentarial ways, they don't accept Miccha Sati. They say Sati is always Samma Sati, or positive and beautiful and good. But in the suttas, you find Miccha Sati and Samma Sati. Miccha Sati and Miccha Samadhi, you can give an example when a cat is behind a rat. Very sharp, very concentrated. No sounds, you can see how the reaching happens. Or otherwise, when the Godwin is explaining heat all, when you are in the bank, the cashier, you are waiting at the counter, and the cashier is counting money. And when 1,000 and 1,000 rupees he or she is counting, if you ask a question, because any mistake happen, you have to pay. So there's a kind of a sati and kind of a concentration. It's professionally came, but it is never leading to Nibbana. Not necessarily. And if you're going to talk cock and bull stories, no, because it is cash. So this is the way the Miccha Sati and Miccha Samadhi going to happen. But same thing indicates, even you are not a meditator, you have sati, you have samadhi. Only thing is, put it into the correct direction. So therefore sati is nothing to train. It is never a strange thing. It is a already endowed thing. Only thing is, it is focused to particular direction. Then it is for the benefit of you. May not be economical and political, social, but the understanding who am I. As I meditate, I feel some stretching at the back and also heat. I have read in your book, in this life itself, that when you see elements in the practice, this is how you experience them. Am I now experience elements? Please instruct me. So, if this is the correct thing, it will happen again and again. So therefore, don't arrive at a decision, let that happen again and again. Facets may be different. Stiffness to tension, and heat to cold, and stretching to the shrinking. Many things can happen. And you can find it is not related to external heat or something like that. They are manifesting by themselves. So going through again and again, without involving, without reacting, without assuming them, it gives a lot of chances for you to develop patience, the immunity. So appear to be good, but don't rush. Don't arrive at decision, suspended decision. Let the experience continue. So I have read all your books on the Vipassana Fellowship website. They are so very beneficial for my practice. Thank you again and again for these valuable books and the teaching. They are very clearly expressed. I am telling this is not my mistake. Some people are writing, they are publishing under my name. So I raise my both the hands. Yes, it is Dhammajiva, but it's a good and the bad of the people, they are publishing it. And if it is good, if it is useful, we say 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable Bhante, sometimes I feel that I have no Saddha because offering Buddha Puja and chanting Gatha without knowing the meaning, etc., feel like not much value to me now. But paying respect to triple gems, understanding the meaning of each quality of Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha by chanting each piece of Bhagavad, etc., I still like to do so. But as a Buddhist, I supposed to carry on the traditional things mainly to understand and follow by the younger generation. This is a very, is this a very cheating? Please, of course this is Islam, Buddhism and the Buddha Dhamma, the difference. The Buddha Dhamma, it is here now I am. Whenever they come to the ethics, when you come to the Islam, it is not merely here now I am, it is spreading with the younger generation and the temple and the rituals and the services, everything. So therefore, as far as the Buddhism is concerned, different people have different attitudes, and that is how the Tibetan Buddhism, Sri Lankan Buddhism, Thai, different methods. But when you go to that tradition, the best thing is to perform according to their rules and regulations. And when you go to the Rome, behave like a Roman. That's all. And don't make much. If it is not possible, please just tell the chief monk, Bande, I can't do it. That's it. It is not a must. But don't make a rule not to do also. And don't make a rule, everything I have to do also. Be in the flexible line. So it is not a must. It is not a must to the offering Buddha Puja, chanting Gathas. Most of these Gathas are commentarial. They are not in the canon. The canonical things are there, but later it became mantras or protecting formulas. During the time of the Buddha also there were some. But later that went more toward the Islam, specifically in the countries, the traditional countries like our Sri Lanka, Burma and Thailand, a lot of things. But that is a kind of an appreciation for those who people preserve Dhamma. So you are also giving part, if possible, but it is not a must. That is the wrapper. That's the outer peel. And same product have different the covers and different labels. So just do it. It is not a must. That does not indicate you have no saddha. And the particular saddha it is talking about called pasada saddha or amulika saddha. That is very superficial, and upon that saddha, whenever you are going to understand meditative object and meditating mind, as and when the object changes, if the mind can read, this is in-breath, this is out-breath, this is left leg, this is right leg, that kind of a saddha is called okappana saddha. It is the sinking type. It is descending type. That is the what difference with respect to the other religions. The other religions starting with this pasada saddha, the superficial one, ending up with that. But the Buddha using this pasada saddha as the initiative, and when it is developing, you have some verifiable little facts under your very nose. And that is going to give more and more encouragement to that the point you lead up to the Magga Jnana and Phala Jnana, and then it called Adhigama Saddha, that is already realized. So therefore this pasada saddha, it is trivial, but it is the starting point. Don't make a very stereotype. I must do, I must not. Do appropriate technology according to the mood, according to the circumstances, but make sure that your okappana saddha, that penetrating kind of thing, that is the real starting point to the living Dhamma. Other things is just initial dose. Bhante, what are your thoughts on the Maha method? Are the slowing down of the daily activities, walking, of any benefit? So usually in the day-to-day activities, the slowing down is very important, because when you are in a rush, when you are doing it in a speed, often you lose the control. When you are slowing down, it is naturally you become self-conscious. It's a very good way to be mindful. So therefore, SMS, slowly, mindfully, silently. In day-to-day activities, have this SMS. So that is Mahasi. That is the way the Mahasi Sayadaw introduced. Whenever the yogi performing something, specifically not socialized kind of thing, not involved with the second person, you do it in a manner, mostly you are covered by the mindfulness. For that, generally it is telling, slow down. Just like in a driving learning lessons, to first learn how to run the vehicle in a slow manner. Then only you only wait to develop the momentum, and you can go to the driving without much of accidents. So slowing down is a very good. You have to read the Vitakka Sutta. The Buddha has given exactly the way, how this slowing down, Vitakka Santano, Dveda Vitakka. These both suttas are appearing in the Majjhima Nikaya, next to the other. They explain how the slowing down can bring you to the present moment in a very effective way, very active way. Dear Venerable Sir, could you kindly explain what is Sati Sampajanya, Yoniso Manasikara? These are three mental factors. Sati, Sampajanya means jnana, the panya, Manasikara. The Sati Sampajanya means two mental factors. Sati is the mindfulness. Sampajanya is translated as clear comprehension. So without Sati, clear comprehension can't work. So therefore, Sati make the ground for the Sampajanya to work. And when the Sampajanya comes, it select the priority. Sati has no that quality. Sati is just making the room available, the ground available, and when the Sampajanya comes, it reshuffle your liking and disliking, your personality traits, and give the new order in the decision-making process, and that is less frictional than the Asampajanya. So therefore, whenever the Sati install, you have no special effort to invite Sampajanya. Sampajanya is naturally coming. It says like a needle and the thread. If you are really maneuvering the needle in such a way, thread will come behind and it will put the knit. Therefore, your main task is to use the needle in such a way, in knitting, and the Sampajanya is very flexible. It come behind and do the task. But the Sati is just like a very adamant, very stereotype. You can't bend it. All the circumstances has to bend, or the cloth has to bend. So Sati is going, and Sampajanya is coming behind. And Yoniso Manasikara is that at each time, we never face with one single object. It's always multivarious. Which one to select and which one to reject is decided by the Manasikara. If what you selected is beneficial, it is Yoniso Manasikara. It is called Patha Manasikara, Upaya Manasikara. And if you selected the wrong thing, definitely you have to suffer the loss. That is called Ayoniso Manasikara. So therefore, at least you have to say, this Manasikara is always active. If you are not paying attention, Whether you like it or not, consequences are following. So sati is giving you to say, what is happening, but the consequences are not someone else's decision, it is your own decision, because in a rut, in a traditional way of your liking and disliking, you always select that. If it is so, no chance. But if you keep the range open under the light of mindfulness, you can select, and then by selecting the consequences, you can somewhat master it. So therefore, Yoniso Manasikara, Ayoniso Manasikara is completely impromptu. It's completely improvised. And don't try to do it, but just let the mind to know, if you are unmindful, who is going to take the helm? Ultimately, where are you going? The opportunities are equal for each and everyone, but selecting that particular combination is nothing but your own liking and disliking, your own personality. So mindfulness is going to say, for example, when the buffet diet is served, different people come and serve themselves from the different dishes. What you served is what you are going to taste. What you are going to taste is what you are going to swallow. What you are going to swallow is what you are going to digest. What you are going to digest is what going to give the sap. That is what going to do a stream of blood. But if you are going to eat poison, that will suffer. You are going to eat something nutritious, that is the way. So, table has no responsibility about what you are serving yourself. It is decided by the Yoniso Manasikara. So therefore, what we do is, after eating, we are blackguarding the person who served the table. He says that that particular person don't know this thing and he served, so I tempted to eat and I eat and now I am. That is what it happened. You explained Bhavatanna the other day. My understanding of this was the desire to become reborn again. Can you explain if this is correct as well? So as I mentioned, to become, you take all the other reference points like your dear and near ones, past and the future, time and everything. I explain it yet another way, exactly the same idea. During meditation, the mind can cause a lot of agitation, going into the past and the future. I can also create blissful states as well. How can the some mind cause two extremes? Can you explain? Can you please explain? How does science explain this? How did Buddha explain this? A simple term, anicca. And that means that things are varying. The way it's transient nature. So the Buddha says, the way the mind is moving fast, pandanam chapalam chittang, yattakama nipatitang, the way the mind is tricky, jumping here and there, so unreliable, unpredictable, uncredible, he can't give even as an example. So the only thing is you have to understand that is what, whether you like it or not, whether you know or not. Only when you come into the meditation, only you come to know your mind is such. So therefore it is not a bad thing, it is the first and foremost benefit of your meditation. Otherwise you don't know. Otherwise you are living whole your life with a sensuous pleasure. You don't know, you are fostering, you are feeding and you are supporting this mind which has no agenda. It is running, it is called monkey mind or mad monkey mind. The scientists are yet another monkeys, no hope. I also learned for a long time for science, now I know Buddha is the only scientist, that is called Vijja. The other one is simply we can say Avijja. Thero, if everything is conditioned and happens due to the cause and effect, what is free will or choice? Is there a really free will? Can you please explain? That is why we have our will to go to hell. we can go. We have our chance. It is like the barber razor given to a monkey. It can cut everywhere as you like. Madurata dalipi yahuna wage kiyanne. There is. And that is the beauty of the human life. And that is the way Yonisomanasikara or Ayonisomanikara happen. So if you are going to do just by your liking and dislike and a personality trait and what you listen and kind of thing, you often damage yourself. But the very thing that you understand, there is no second person, I am the only one is damaging, then only you can use it for benefit of you. So therefore, the will, and it has been, as I mentioned, that Saint Aquinas, he presented it even in the midst of this intelligent design, the Creator God. And even the bishops, they accepted it. And then Schopenhauer confirmed, yes, human, they have the will. But unfortunately, it is evil. Or each will is going to do ill will. So therefore it has been given. So if you do not know how to use it, you are often damaging yourself. So this is the beauty of human life. Human means that Buddha says, Sabbhe putuddhana ummataka, all commoners are deranged. What does exactly Panatipata means? Pana means the life or longevity, not the longevity, the living nature. Atipata means the stopping. What is Buddhist view on the taking antibiotics to kill or suppress the growth of the microbes who are living organisms? Liberalize the Buddhism. There's one magazine, one article, one volume of Times magazine. It may be now 10, 12 years old. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi selected it, and some of the other we got in Nissarana. It says the story on the antibiotics. It says that whenever people pasture come to know the germs, and pasteurization reduced the germs, and it was a big leap in the medical science as in the science. And therefore, there onward people thought some diseases we can completely eradicate from the world, including TB and all the kind of thing. But they've forgotten human beings have 100 years, and within that 100 years time only evolution can take place, or natural selection. But the antibiotics only 3 days, which in 3 days they can generate new genera. And therefore whatever the antibiotics you are going to produce, next day they come out with a new version. So humans are so lagging behind regarding the production of antibiotics. But the antibody, the bacteria producing so much, so therefore if you are going to use more and more antibiotics, ultimately you will be more and more vulnerable to the newly coming the germs. So therefore you must have certain amount of resistance power. You must have certain amount of immunity. That's the only way. And he says, in the Times magazine, it says, now even if you do not like to have antibiotics within yourself, each and every piece of meat, each and every piece of this thing is full of antibiotics. So therefore when you take antibiotics, you take the animal products, I mean specifically the farm animals, so much of antibiotics, ultimately you don't know why these reactions are happening. So much of chemical effects, so therefore it is not, and leave aside this sympathy to the animal, but taking this meat means you do know unwanted, unknown amount of antibiotics. Because the farm animals are growing on these, chemicals and antibiotics. So it's a very nice article. It says, who is going to win? Definitely bacteria. Because they are short cycles. Human beings to introduce one antibiotics takes so much of years. Go through in the whole pharmaceutical conditions and kind of thing, but antibiotics have no pharmaceutical logos. Freely producing. So at last we lost. So now they come to know the holistic medicine and immunity and the resistance, and that is the way only you can survive, not through completely disinfected method. And so therefore, even the Buddha, he told that not only that this antibiotic story go to this reductionist approach of the medical science. They say everything happening due to the germs, so if you kill the germs, you will be healthy. But simply medical science define what they mean by health. They are completely off. They are earning money only out of sick people. That is only medical science is. And so it's very difficult to define itself. And now once the perverted action of the antibiotics and the germs come to know, the basic, medical discoveries and everything now is again questioning. That is why people are going for not a reductionist method, but to go for the holistic method. Germs also must live, you also must live. You have to have a certain amount of resistance. Exactly the way, if you wish to go to Nibbana, it is not the eradication of defilements. How you deal with defilements, how you resist with the defilements. You can't have the world without defilements. So it has exactly the same meaning when on the defilements and the Nibbana is concerned. So nowadays in the Western countries, specifically, these things are really reviewing, reconsidering, and ultimately they find the best medicine in the few years to come is the mindfulness. Because no side effects, no after effects, holistic, no second person involved, no pharmaceutical industry can tax you. So these are the qualities they are going to say. And then ultimately they feel very sorry because people are not taking mindfulness because it appears like religious. Buddhism has claimed 2600 years ago, they feel so sorry. They are trying their best to show that mindfulness is something discovered in the American laboratory. So if it is so, they say everyone will use it. Because no religious label. So they are now removing the people talking about the mindfulness on the religious basis. They are proving America is the place they found it. They are the people discovered, and these are the people testing. These are the machines they have done. These are the results. Is it business Buddhism? So therefore the people traditionally doing mindfulness is a headache for them. Because they wanted to show it's a marvelous discovery on the present day meditation, medical science. Can you please explain the meaning of sasara, atmaya, soul? If there is no me or mine who gets reincarnate, please explain. So these things are the coming out of a different kind of mindset. So as far as the reincarnation is concerned, it happens as far as the ignorance is there. If there is no ignorance, as to say there is a self or there is no self, then no reincarnation finishes. As far as there is a ignorance to say there is self or there is no self, so much so the reincarnation and everything happens. So that is that's the thing, that's the crux of Vipassana meditation too, and not to go into the extremes, yes or no. You have to find the middle path and to escape so that you can disprove reincarnation by your very selection of middle path. As far as you are associating the two extremes, you never get escaped from the reincarnation as well as the ignorance. So sasara also is known as repetitive. Sasara is vortex. It's vatta. Sansara vatta it called. It is happening due to the kamma vatta, kilesa vatta and vipaka vatta. You are doing some things repetitively in order to earn new karmic forces. Kamma vatta. Vipaka is whenever they become matured, they are definitely going to give the consequences. You are born to karma because of your kilesas. So they are in a perpetuation that is called samsara. Atma and the soul is sometimes it is different meanings, but usually you can take it as synonyms. And here the self and non-self, it is rather related with the ignorance. These need hours of study, so I will do in the next time, because the whole page is cutting and editing, very difficult. Slowly you have to read it. So we have luckily another date for question and answer. I will try to do it. This is abnormal kind of thing written in Sinhala. This is an English session, so I think it is not better go much detail, but as respect to the written, I will just read it. මට හැඟෙන හැටියට ඔබ වහන්සේ ධර්ම භාණ්ඩාගාරයකි. ඒ උතුම් වූ ශ්‍රී සද්ධර්මයේ සසරේ අතරමඟ සිටින අපටද අවබෝධ කරවා දීමට ගන්නා උත්සාහය උත්තරීතරය. ඔබ වහන්සේගේ තේරුම් කර දෙන්නේ උත්තරීතර හුදකලා මම තේරුම් ගතිමි. මාමින්ම අප සමග සිටි අනිත් අය තේරුම් ගන්නට ඇති. නැවත නැවතත් අප මෙවැනි භාවනා වැඩසටහන් වල සහභාගී වන ලෙස කරුණාවෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිමි. උත්තරීතර හුදකලා තේරුම් ගත්තා නම් මම මොකටද ආයසරයක්. එසේම මේ වැඩසටහන් සම්පාදනය කිරීම සඳහා රමණී විමල් රූපාගත් උත්සාහයට අපි තාමත් අගය කොට සලකනවා. ආහාර පාන පිළියෙල කර දීමට සහභාගී වූ සැමටත් උදේ ආහාර ඉතාමත් ප්‍රණීත ලෙස සකස් කර දුන් විශාකාටත් ස්තුතිවන්තයි. මටත් ඔබ සැමටත් අදාදම නිවන් මඟ ලැබේවා. අශෝක. මේක සාමාන්‍ය තව දවස් දෙකකට පස්සේ වෙන එන්න ඕන ලයින් එක. දැන් මේක ලියුමක්. يعني ඉවර වෙන දවසට තමයි මේවා සාමාන්‍ය එන්නේ. පොඩ්ඩක් කලින් පෝස්ට් එක ඇවිල්ලා. අපිට තියෙනවා වෙලා තියෙන තව ගොඩාක් ස්තුති කරතයි බය වෙන්න එපා. The last question, the calm, blissful, no pain, no pleasure situation, experience use meditation, are they brought about by endorphins or other chemicals released by the temporal lobe in the brain? Can you please discuss? So we can explain this in the chemical way, the physical way, and many methods are there. Endorphins and other chemicals, usually it says that between two ends of the nerves, it's transferred by chemicals, sometimes electromagnetic fields. So if the chemical is going to give a wrong message, whatever it is coming, no problem, always the other message is coming. So when we are learning the Boy Scouts, we are sitting right round and hand in hand. So teacher is giving a secret word, so you have to tell to the other person. And when it is coming, it takes how many minutes it goes to, and all of a sudden, person in between has part of filthy word. And then at the end, what happens is, the last person can't tell. And no one knows where it changed. So this is the endorphin. Endorphin always taking this one, pass it to the other. So the schizophrenic and other situation, that is conditioning all the time. It is not exactly passing what is receiving, it is little twisting. So whatever the medicine you are going to have, whatever the thing happen, can be explained only through the chemical way, and you have to attribute it is karmic. And otherwise you have to change everything. This kind of thing happens. So some psychiatric and the neuroscientist ways also they explain, and they say that when the Metta Bhavana is doing, Karuna Bhavana, Buddhanusati, Asubha, Maranasati, different waves are releasing from the mind. And they have graphed them. And when there is no sign of the meditation happen, when the vipassana happens, now they have standardized these with the functional MRI scan. So you fix the electrodes and send the person inside with the set pattern. They say, first minute I will give a sign, and they can talk each other. And he is if he's a mastered person, first minute he will do Karuna Bhavana, then the Metta Bhavana, then the Buddha Anusati, and all the schedule. And then the graphs are there. And another person also going to there. Ultimately they found kind of a consistency as far as gamma rays and all the kind of thing. And equally it may be in the chemicals also. So that is how this transpersonal consciousness and transformation of consciousness is being graphed according to the tentative data available. So from the scientific point of view, neuroscientist, psychiatry, medical science, physics, quantum physics, so they are putting together and try to develop kind of a model so that they can standardize it. So it's a huge popular section presently happening basically in America and little bit in England. And the key person is His Holiness Dalai Lama. He is directing and monitoring all the kind of thing. So if you go to the Mind and the Life organization, and they have conference, symposiums, and they are very interesting parts. And now they are, not all the people are Buddhist, but now majority is becoming Buddhist, and they are going to give interpretations. Very interesting if you know the term meaning of mindfulness. And if you have a little bit of meditation experience, when you read it, it's a completely new window in the present day generation. What is the knower or one or state that watch all what is happening? This is what you have to trace yourself. Knowing and knower. See the seen things and seer. Always this duality happens. So it is a matter of function of the consciousness. Consciousness always separated. When separated only you can demarcate, define. But when everything knower become the known, that is what the it says in the Pativipassana Jnana. Pativipassana is not only you are aware about the object of meditation, mindfulness come up to such a, or vipassana come up to such a momentum, it can be aware of the very mind it is meditating also. It's a very rare situation. The very mind can see itself, but not in the same thought moment, the next thought moment. At the beginning it see the transient nature of the object, but once the mind become really calibrated or gather the momentum with respect to the object, it can reflect back on itself. That is called Pativipassana. And then only mind understand everything is so transient, then lead to the Sankharupeka or equanimity toward all the formations. So therefore, the knower and the known, there's no difference. As far as difference is, their consciousness take the upper hand. But the knower is the known. When that happens, the vijnana, the consciousness, loses its grounds. So till that, you have to carry on. If it is phenomena, can you please explain? Who or what is the knower or the one or the state that watches all what is happening? If it is phenomena, can you please explain this? This problem arising due to this dualistic thinking. So it is the starting point. The moment the knower and the known merge each other, that is what we call that the Magga Jnana, and there are no duality. So therefore there is no good and the bad. That is what the unexplainable it called. That is what it is ineffable, difficult to put into words. Okay, that's all as far as the written questions are concerned. Two things I have my homework. And time is, yes, 10:20 because we started almost 30 minutes delayed. Is explained. Is there any other things feel fit to discuss? Okay, shall we go for the summing up of the, or winding up of the day's program? Okay, now it seems there are no other immediate issues, so that we will share our merit with all the seen and unseen beings, those who helped organize these kind of good things, and all the relatives, and last but not the least, to remember and to straighten our objectives. With that respect, we will go for chanting of the traditional stanzas, so that we can share the merit with all the living beings. Ettavata jangammehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata jangammehi Ettavata jangammehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu mang parang. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatiyo. Sukita hontu nyatiyo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatiyo. Imina punya kammene ami bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammene bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.